So, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Laurie, and I am a diasporan who grew up in the UK. And as of November 29th of 2024, so as of today, that's a few months ago, I packed up my things and I quote unquote moved to Ghana, right? And you can kind of say I moved to Ghana for a bit of a trial run. And so at the beginning of June 2024, I actually finished the process of purchasing my first plot of land in Ghana. So I purchased land in an area called Afienya, which is basically in like the greater region, or the greater Accra region, sorry. And I did so through somebody called Rush Asari. So Rush is also a YouTube personality as well. And so when I returned to Ghana at the end of last year, so specifically, let's say around mid-December, I decided to wall my land. I wanted to protect my land, right? And so again, I did so through Rush. And so during my first visit to the site, sort of since arriving back in Ghana, I shot a video with Rush. And basically, it culminated in the production of an interview. And so that interview is actually sort of there for your viewing on his channel. So definitely do check it out. But what I thought would be really good to do today is for me to look back on the video, since it's been 2 months now, and sort of review any comments or answers that I gave, sort of make it not necessarily clear, but clarify anything that I'd said, provide some more details. You know, an interview is only so long. That interview, I think, is around 15 minutes. So there's only so many sort of details that you can bring up. So I thought it'd be good to provide you, the audience, with a few more details, especially those who are wishing to do similar to what I did. And so when I say that, I mean, potentially purchasing land in Ghana. As you're watching the video, it'll be great if you can like, comment, and subscribe. When it comes to comments, feel free, right? If you have any questions, queries, any opinions, do feel free to voice them in the comments. Obviously, just keep it respectful, keep it civilized. I hope you enjoy the video. And like I said, hop in the comments. I want to hear from you.
In this video, we get to know Laurie. Laurie is a diaspora who is trying to move to Ghana, and the way she's trying to make the move is quite different from what we are used to. She's been a little bit more flexible and not putting too much pressure on herself. Before she landed, she had already acquired a property. She shares the insight on how she acquired a property in Ghana without all the headaches. Today, I am at Afienya. You guys know that's my terrain. And I'm not here alone. I'm here with a client, Laurie. She bought her land, what would you say, like a year ago?
I bought it like March, April.
So almost a year
March,
now,
April,
about 9 months. 9 months.
So I'm just going to pause it there. I thought it would be probably a good idea for me to just like establish some timelines. So I know in the video I've just said that, I obtained the land March, April. So essentially what happened is that I sort of kicked off the process of, purchasing the land, but then I actually finished the process of the purchase at the beginning of June. So yeah, I just thought that would be some much needed detail or clarification.
Now, and she's finally decided to, build her own and protect the land. So you came to check on your work. Yep. I sent her some pictures and all that. So you're in Ghana for quite some time, right? How long are you staying for?
So I should be here for about 6 months. Okay. And then after 6 months, I'll sort of assess everything, and then I may stay up to a year, maybe longer. So
you are being flexible.
Treats me well, then
you are being flexible.
Yes.
What's gonna make your decision concrete? Like, okay, I'm gonna stand. What are you looking to gain within the 6 months? That's gonna influence your decision to stay and stand or go back.
I think, so for the first 2 months, I am literally just here to relax, decompress, get my bearings. But then maybe from February, I'll maybe look into maybe re-engaging in doing things like remote work, or maybe seeing if there are any opportunities for me in Ghana as well.
Okay.
So I think...
Okay, right. So yeah, I've just said, well, in that clip, that my plan is to maybe spend like 2 months of chilling. So with everything in life, like you can have your plan, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your plans, you know, go accordingly. And so when I arrived in Ghana, I actually had a bit of trouble, let's just put it that way. Mind you, I'm putting that nicely, regarding, you know, where I stay, like where I'm renting, where I'm living. And so I didn't really get to chill that much in December. And so honestly speaking, I pretty much extended that so-called vacay period to at least 3 months. Yeah, and I'm still kind of in that vacay mode now.
I think at the end of the 6 months, I think a key thing that I'll need to know is, I guess, like what my main source of income will be.
Okay.
So I think once I'm comfortable with those like streams of income or methods of making money, then I'll be comfortable living here basically.
I mean, that's
Being brutally honest, if you are somebody who is currently experiencing cash flow problems, whatever corner of the earth that you're from, whether you're from the UK, Canada, America, wherever it is, do not assume that, you know, because you've uprooted your life, you've left that situation and you've landed in Ghana, that it will go well for you. There is a good chance it will not. You need money in Ghana. Ghana is not cheap. And I think there's a certain amount of honesty that any diaspora needs to have about, you know, the conditions that require them, you know, to feel comfortable. When you move abroad, if you move to somewhere like Ghana, yeah, I guess it is possible to, you know, live in a way where maybe, you know, it doesn't cost that much relative to what you're used to paying in the country that you've come from. But honestly, like, especially like in the West, like you're used to, you know, certain conveniences. And honestly, if you're going to sort of upkeep that lifestyle or upkeep a lifestyle that you're probably more accustomed to, it will cost you. And I think it's very sort of easy to think, you know, I'm a baller, I can splash the cash in December, but when that time is over and you're here for the long run, you will feel the burn. So honestly speaking, I think the only thing or the only reason that I'll be driven out of Ghana is because of something financial related. But yeah, as I mentioned in this, I think my main focus now is, yeah, determining what those or what my streams of income will be. And so when it comes to work, like I'm open to, you know, I guess remote working, which I can do. So with my background, sort of what I've done in the UK, what I've done academically, I can actually work remotely. And so when I say remote, I mean, you know, when you just work a standard job, typically it's 9 to 5, but then instead of going to your office every day, you know, you kind of take your laptop and you work elsewhere, you work abroad. But if I'm honest, that isn't my preference because I do not want that 9 to 5 lifestyle. I just don't want that restriction. And so my number one choice is freelancing. But with freelancing, you're calling the shots, you know? So I get to do my own project planning. I get to decide which days I work on said project. I also then get to deal with my clients directly and agree to pricing that I or we are happy with. Yeah, so like I said, that's my preference. And obviously then it will allow me to travel as and when I please. Obviously, so long as I carry my laptop, I can still make money. So for now, let's say within, you know, this so-called like 6-month trial period, that is what I'm aiming to establish and become comfortable doing. If we're talking longer term, then I'm talking sort of creating like my own business or businesses. But for this initial 6-month trial period, I'm sort of more focused on the idea of freelancing and making money that way. So yeah.
An awesome plan. I love it. I love it. I think you are trying to jump the ropes, like trying to push it, see if it's gonna work, rather than planning for 10 years. You're like, no, I'm gonna come down here, see I'm gonna figure it out on the ground. And you know, congratulations to you. What you're doing is massive, right? You know, you're not that old and you bought land.
I'm not that old.
You're not that old. And you know, you bought land and you are walling it. So how does it feel?
It feels amazing. It feels great. Yeah, and I think it just feels great to own something.
That is a very, very important point. Just the idea of owning something. And it's funny because like when you grow up in the like somewhere like the UK, the normal thing to do is to, I don't know, you hit maybe early 20s, and the idea is that you save up money, you know, for a mortgage, because then you want to purchase a house. The house is yours. But let's be real, like when you purchase a house, you know, you're purchasing something that you haven't necessarily had any say in the design of, you know? It's almost like you're purchasing somebody else's vision, somebody else's dream. So yeah, I've just never really been drawn to that idea. So I think in obtaining this land, specifically in Ghana, yeah, it's a really good feeling, you know? And when I'm ready to do so, I can design whatever structure I want, in whatever orientation I want, whatever way, whatever design. And yeah, I can truly say it's mine. So yeah, it's a good feeling. And honestly, like, yeah, I'd recommend it for anyone, honestly.
So yeah, and I think once I go through the whole process of walling this, possibly maybe planning on what I'm going to put on it, I think I look forward to also obtaining other plots of land in different areas as well.
I love
and
it.
just sort of like creating and like expanding my portfolio. So
I love it. I love it. You're trying to build the real estate portfolio.
yeah, something like that.
That's good. So it doesn't stop here.
No.
People watching you, right? They're not watching me. They're watching you, Laurie.
Yes.
How was your due diligence process in order for you to come across me and buy this land and also build it? What happened? I want to know for myself and also for the audience.
So I think I pretty much, would I say I always knew I was going to get land in Ghana? I think I was used to maybe like seeing my dad go through the process when I was younger and stuff like that. But then I think once I was serious about the idea of moving to Ghana, I thought, I mean, everybody's, I guess, like most easy to access resource is the internet. And so I'm kind of like an avid YouTube user. And so then I started sort of like searching for different Ghanaian content creators.
So yeah, very, very important point here. So of course, you know, when you're abroad and if you do have aspirations on purchasing land, it almost feels impossible because obviously you're not on the ground to do so, you know, and it does feel a bit strange sending money to somewhere or like conducting a huge purchase for something that you can't see. I cannot stress enough like how effective YouTube is when you're just beginning that sort of like land purchase / like construction journey. And so that can be in any country, but of course I'm specifically talking about Ghana. And obviously when you're overseas, you're not on the ground, but then through watching like loads of different Ghanaian content creators, I was sort of able to piece together my Ghanaian construction know-how and knowledge. What I thought would be great to do is to maybe just highlight just a few of the other content creators that I followed and sort of inspired me to A, purchase land, B, you know, consider going into like possible real estate, and 3, even like relocating to Ghana. One that I definitely want to mention is Africa Building Hub. At the end of 2023, the guy who runs that channel posed the ABH challenge, and with that, he challenged his viewers to at least start or partake in a construction project in the year of 2024. And then I thought, you know what? Why not? I think at the time, like I already knew I was really open to sort of leaving the UK and going elsewhere. I don't know, I feel like the channel just sort of like helped me to see a path forward, like a path towards eventually relocating to Ghana. He would and still does like forecast for various construction materials. So for example, he will discuss, the price of cement, the cost of iron rods, topics like, the best and worst places to consider purchasing land, that sort of thing. So like invaluable tool. And so they still put out content. So I'll definitely advise like you guys checking that channel out. Another channel is called Ghana Bound, right? So Ghana Bound, I think the channel is run by, there's a couple. And at one point they were working in collaboration with, I think it's iHomes Ghana. And so when you'd go on the website, they would have different architectural drawings, and they're very, very fancy architectural drawings, but then they also put price tags on. And I remember at the time, because I'm a very visual person, I don't know, I love the fact that I could go through like their supposed catalog, and based on my financial situation at the time, I sort of in my mind, I kind of forecast, by this month of this year, I'll be able to afford this structure. Just stuff like that, basically. It definitely helped with sort of me envisioning myself in Ghana, And so, yeah, definitely advise checking out that channel. Another one is, I think it's Bright and Clara's channel. They have a number of construction projects that they're working on. Again, because I'm visual, I usually go to that channel just to maybe, just see what like other people are building. It kind of gives me ideas for my own as well. And when you watch the videos, they actually supply some of the contact details for some of the key people that you would possibly need to contact if you're considering starting your own construction project. So that's a really good one. Another one is, I think it's Ishmael Lamti. That channel was really cool. So I think he actually started like his construction business basically from nothing. If you go onto that channel, there is tons of material on like, the various projects that they've done, various construction projects, various regions. Again, like an invaluable tool. And what you find is that many of the projects or like construction projects that they are sort of like leading are for other diasporans as well. So again, definitely check out that channel. If you're abroad, just take advantage of the internet, take advantage of YouTube. And obviously at the bottom of like different videos and stuff that they typically will put a way that you can contact them. So even if it's like via email, even if, I don't know, they say, follow me on Instagram, DM me, whatever, there's ways of reaching these people. And even if like you're not necessarily sure that you want to make the purchase and you just have queries, just shoot them an email, And one thing I will say as well is that even when you shoot them an email, don't feel funny. Like sometimes you may contact people and you don't get a great reception. You may feel a bit awkward, but then one question I think you should ask yourself is, if they don't give you a great response, they're not very attentive, is that necessarily somebody that you really want to enter, into like a land purchase or transaction with? So yeah, don't feel shy. Just give it a go.
And so I came across various people that were, of course, like in the real estate space, people selling land, people who were actually like recording like various points of construction. And then one day I ran into your videos and I can't remember the exact video that it was, but I do know that me and I have a friend that's in London. We would actually sometimes put your videos like on like the big TV and we would just like watch and see what was going on.
That big.
And I mean, I'm pretty, would I say I'm a paranoid person? Maybe. But I think what I just liked the honesty and then the fact that Rush had like a face on what he was doing. And so I think one day I just woke up and I just thought, okay, right, I'm actually gonna reach out, send an email. And then I had like a very painful kind of back and forth.
When you say you sent an email, you really sent an email.
Well, many emails.
So yeah, about these emails. So in between, let's say like the 3rd of March, to the 6th of June, and so with those 2 dates I'm basically talking about the first email that I sent to Rush's team through to me closing the deal, essentially. And when I say closing the deal, I mean I paid for everything, signed for, received the contracts, paperwork, all of that. I think I'd sent a total of 32 emails, And in each of those emails, they didn't just contain one question. I'd put in like multiple questions. And so that went on for quite a while, you know? And yeah, my advice to anybody who's interested in purchasing land in Ghana, do not shy away from asking questions. Take as long as you need to ask the questions that you need answered for you to feel comfortable, because it's not a small amount of money, you know? Purchasing land, purchasing property is a big deal. So ask those questions. Like, I mean, I've heard some like bizarre stories of people that, I don't know, they've maybe just sent one email, maybe with one question, or maybe straight away just saying, oh, I'm interested, and then they just go through with the purchase. I mean, fine if it works, right? You're lucky. But for the majority of people, like, that's when you run into like, you know, these various scams, you know, you'll lose your money. Like, take your time. And as I said earlier, don't feel funny about asking those questions. Don't feel as if you're pestering people with your questions. Like, you want to make sure as well that, you know, you're working with people that are willing to hear you out. And I mean, as you can probably guess, I kind of drove Rush and his team slightly crazy, but they addressed my questions. And it's because of that I eventually thought, of all the different content creators that I've seen on YouTube selling land, like, this is who I feel comfortable sending my money to and working with. And as I've said, I love the fact that there was a face that is put to the company. There's a face that he puts to his work. He doesn't hide behind people. And obviously, as a diasporan, it's kind of comforting knowing that, you know, that there is another diasporan that can sort of like guide me through the process. And so I think what I found anyway is that because he recognizes, I guess, like the needs of, like, you know what I mean, like his audience, his clientele, which, like I said, are diasporans, there's a bit more guidance. I was happy after those 32 emails. I'm not advising that you send 32 emails, but I am advising that you do that due diligence and you do ask those questions.
Many emails.
Yeah, she had a lot of questions, but I guess they were all answered, right?
Yeah, they were.
They were answered, right?
And
to your
then
satisfaction?
They were, and then you emailed me personally.
Right.
And then answered my questions further.
Right.
And then I thought, okay, yeah, I'm doing this.
Great.
So I think at that point I was comfortable. So,
right.
Yeah, it was cool.
And then when you bought it, I think you came here. You bought it while you were in the UK, right? And then you came to visit. Was it 2 months after? Or?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, and then we came to see the land.
Yes.
And that was, maybe if it's 2 months after, that was around May?
It was like, so I came here May, June.
Yeah.
So yeah, the day when I first went to visit my land, yeah, I was very pleased with myself. I remember like visiting the site, and I remember standing, I think like one of my neighbors, they'd built a wall. So I remember like standing on top of like the wall and like sort of like looking over the land and that sort of thing. And I think what's really cool is that if you purchase land in that specific area, you are going to be around other diasporans, you know? And when I say diasporans, they're not just necessarily diasporans from, you know, the UK or America. Like, you have diasporans in other African nations, you know? You have diasporans from just other continents, other corners of the earth, like from wherever. So yeah, it's not like you're gonna be, you know, alone. Yeah. So yeah, I would advise personally getting property in that particular spot.
We walked here, you remember, right? We walked here.
I remember standing on that wall over there.
Exactly. You took a picture?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And now we are back, I think 6 months afterwards. Have you seen any like fast development, any changes since your visit? I
think, so aside from my own like patch of land, just the general kind of construction goings-ons like in this area. So I think it's also nice seeing how other people have sort of like added to their projects in the area too. And so we've had like days where you've shown me some of the other construction projects that are in the area. So that's also been really, really nice to see. And then to my own patch of land here, I think this is the first time I'm actually seeing everything sort of like leveled out as well. So I can really see sort of how like big the land is. And it is actually very, very large.
Yeah, 70 by 100. It was quite bushy.
Yeah, it was very bushy.
But yeah, we're not going to do the wall without you know,
Yeah.
making it clean. So
Yeah.
you took care of it.
And then now they're building a wall for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, we started on Monday and we should be done by Sunday.
Yeah.
Today's a Thursday, so maybe before Sunday for sure, but you know, I don't want to promise and fail. But what are the plans? I know you are very happy to come and plant your trees ahead of time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what kind of trees are we planting here?
So I'm planning on going and purchasing some royal palms. And so what I want to do is once like the front of the wall is built, I'll maybe like plant maybe 4, maybe 5. I don't know if that's too many, something like that.
Yeah, so those royal palms has to happen. So I think I'll probably do that in the next, I don't know, maybe a couple of months or maybe even a few weeks. I'll see how I feel. But yeah, I think what is also probably a good idea to mention is that even when you have your, you know, your plot of land, so obviously mine is 70 by 100, there's the gap between, I guess, the front of your, you know, your patch of land and then where the road is. And so where I happen to have land, there's actually quite a lot of sort of like on-street land that is basically there in addition to that 70 by 100 plot that I can put trees on. So when I say I'm going to put trees, I'm not necessarily putting it on my patch of land, but I actually get to put that on that space that is basically outside of the front of my wall, and then the, you know, the road essentially. But yeah, one thing I'm going to mention is, I don't know what it is, but Ghanaians that live here, Ghanaians that have built their, you know, their mansions, their palaces, their very, very fine homes, it's like they have an aversion to greenery. And it's like a lot of the houses, I mean, they're nice, but they're kind of like concrete fortresses. And, you know, I think particularly as somebody from the UK, like, you know, we're used to having things like, you know, recreational parks and like, you know, you have ponds, you have places to, you know, you can ride your bike, you know, you can sit on the grass, read a book. You don't necessarily have that in Accra. And when I say not necessarily, I would say you don't actually have that at all. The closest you can get to that is typically going to the beach, right? And even that, I mean, questionably, you know, now, if you want to walk along like Laboma Beach, like they charge you, man. So it's not free. So I think wherever I live, wherever my home is or homes, I think it's important for me to have that greenery. Like I want grass, I want plants, you know, I want, you know, just that little mini park in my backyard that I can chill in, I can read in, I can relax in, you know? So yeah, me getting those royal palms, that is literally just the beginning. I'm not going to plant the royal palms and then just have concrete, like, you know, throughout the rest of it. That's not going to happen. Like I want as many plants around my property as possible. And to be honest, that is whether I build something for me to live in, or even if maybe I decide to put a structure on that piece of land, like, you know, Airbnb, even like a few apartments, whatever's on there, whether I'm living there or not, there will be greenery. Just saying.
So maybe 4 or 5, just like in front of the wall. And so obviously they'll take a number of years to grow, I guess. And so I guess like once I'm ready to, I don't know, who knows, maybe one day I'll move into whatever's on this patch of land, or when I'm ready to do whatever I'm going to do with the land, the trees will have grown, and yeah.
Time will tell. I think it's going to beautify the place. Not a lot of people have bare land or a land with a wall and they plant something on it. So thank you for doing that. We changed the place.
Yep.
Definitely will. Did you look on the map? When you saw me and I'm like, I'm selling land in Afienya, you looked on the map?
I did.
So what was the deciding point? Like, what did you see to say, okay, aside from, okay, I think I can trust this guy and buy land from him, the location itself, why did you pick Afienya?
I think I like the rationale that you presented on your videos. So in your videos, you didn't just kind of say, okay, right, here's the land I'm selling and this is the area, go for it. I think you sort of explained the rationale, or like, I guess, incentive people have with, obviously we have like the railway that's being built close by. And then obviously then there's going to be a road expansion as well. So even though for now, I think on the map, it may seem a bit far to some people, but once that road expansion actually happens, it will not take long at all to like drive here. to like say the airport.
Right, because the other day when you came in, there was no traffic.
It was like 30 minutes or something. So
Exactly.
from here to like central Accra, it took 30 minutes without traffic.
Right.
So when they expand the roads, then it'll be even quicker.
When they finish, they are doing the road. They started back there.
Oh.
Yesterday, I went to Chrome and I saw that they started the road.
Oh.
So I'm going to put the B-rolls on the screen. You know, the promise that I made you guys that they were going to double the road is actually happening.
So one thing I didn't mention in this, in this interview, or bring up in this interview, is the added point of whether or not you're planning on living, on a property that's built on that land. Because obviously, it's not central Accra. It's still, some people will consider it's still quite far out. So I'd say the closest major community is Tema, that sort of thing. But I think an important point to raise is this investment opportunity. If you purchase land there, right, it's not necessarily about, your preferences if you want to live there. But say if you just wanted to land bank, for example. So when I say land banking is a process of you just obtain land, you kind of keep it for a while. And then obviously when the land appreciates in value, then you sell it off, and land in that area is selling like hotcakes, So also just think about the amount of money you can make in obtaining this land and then maybe eventually down the line selling it. And that's whether or not you put a structure on it. On the interview, you can see, I think it's priced. It says like it's 80,000 Ghana cedis. That was at the time that, the interview was shot. So currently, land through Russia Sari in Afienya is going for 85,000 Ghana cedis, right? And so, yeah, for context, in pounds, if you want the conversion, as of today, that equates to 4,316 pounds. And in dollars, or when I say dollars, I mean US dollars, that equates to $5,436. It is worth it. I am telling you. Yeah, I'll mention this, at the end of the video, but if you are interested in, or you're considering purchasing land, if you have any questions about this, any questions about the process that I've been through, if you even want me to connect you with Rush directly, let me know. If you just hop in the description below, you will find an email address. So yeah, it's an email address where you can send questions, queries, that kind of thing. Just send your questions. And like I said, if you want me to connect you with Rush, I can facilitate that. Let me know.
All right, so you made the right decision for sure. I also live on this side, and the reason why it's so easy for me to kind of understand that, okay, this is a road problem, is because when I go out, because I try to dodge the traffic all the time. When I go out and I'm coming back, I make sure there's no traffic when I'm coming back. I think I've been in the traffic like maybe 5 times my entire time living here. And the worst times, I think that the first time you came here, that was the worst time. Remember 5, 6? We were coming around that time?
I remember that, yep.
That's the worst time because a lot of people live on this side and they're coming from Accra. So that's why they want to do the road. And in the morning too, when you are going, it's pretty bad. But at night when you come, it's like 30 minutes, just like the time it took you to get here. So that's why I know, okay, this is a road problem. Despite all the potholes, if they do double it, it will be really easy to get to Accra. And also, have you been to Safari Valley?
Not yet.
And again, adding on to the point that I just raised, as well, any land, like property on any patch of land that is within like an hour of the airport in Accra, like, dude, if you have that, it is a gold mine. And if it's not a gold mine yet, it will be a gold mine, because like I said, loads of people are flocking to Ghana. People do not necessarily have East Legon money. They definitely do not have Cantonment's money. Well, the majority do not. So if you are looking to move, if you are thinking long term, it will be to your benefit if you look at acquiring properties in areas or land in areas such as Afienya. And as I did say in this video, I think if you drive, and that's even now, right? So this is during the construction, or now they're doubling the road. So all of that is still underway, still kind of under construction. But even while it's under construction, when there is no traffic, it is 30 minutes from my plot of land into main Accra, right? So imagine when the construction is actually done. So not 1 hour, it won't take 1 hour to get to the airport. It will take potentially 30 minutes or thereabouts. So keep that in mind. Like, don't think for the short term, think for the long term. And don't necessarily, I guess, think of your preferences now, you know? Again, think long term.
It's only an hour from here.
Oh, amazing.
Only 1 hour from here, 1 hour from here to Bridgeview, 1 hour from here to all the resorts in Akosombo. It's also closer to Adan. So Adan, you've been to Adan, why? Safari?
No,
Safari. Oh, Safari Valley is rather Edukrom and Aqua Safari.
Aqua Safari.
Yeah. You haven't been there?
I haven't been either.
You roam around and you're not going to Adan?
My family members have. I haven't been yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this place is kind of close to...
To be fair, when I find myself in Aqua Safari or Safari Valley, that definitely will be a source of more content, don't worry.
A lot of, fun activities areas, and to get to, the mountains, you can also cut into the back, which will take you like an hour to get there. So we are happy to have you here. I like the fact that you are very active on the site. Like, you're growing like a baby.
In what way?
Because you came here, you were standing here, you're like, okay, I love this. I can't wait to put a wall up and I will put the trees here. Like, I like how you treat the land. Like,
okay.
You treat it like
So
as a living thing.
I haven't annoyed you with my questions yet?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool.
Not at all.
Cool.
Yeah, so what Rush is referring to is, let's just say, my on-site behavior. And to be fair, this is just my behavior in my day-to-day life. I'm very finicky, I'm very particular. So even when I went on site and I saw my wall, I kind of looked at the brickwork and the workmanship with the magnifying glass, and like I was sort of like nitpicking, asking questions. And yeah, I implore everybody should be like that, honestly. Be involved in the construction process, because in my experience, when I say my experience, I mean like from when I was young, like watching, for example, like my dad when, he was building like the house in like Kumasi and stuff like that. You have to pay attention to what is going on. You have to, when you can, be on the ground. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously now in this video, we're talking about purchasing land and potentially doing it when you're abroad. But if you are actually, engaging in, the construction of said property, I would definitely advise being there. I would definitely advise scrutinizing what is going on, asking questions. Yeah, honestly, it will save you a lot of headache further down the line.
I love what I do, so I mean, anything to make you understand the process. I know you care about all the details.
I do.
And then I respect that. I could be annoying like that sometimes, so I respect that.
Cool.
Yeah, so we are happy to have you here. What are the long-term plans for the land? Or is it in the air?
It's in the air, but with some, I guess, coaxing from my dad. My dad is very much like, just enjoy the fact that you own something. So I think he's more so for building maybe actually no, he doesn't even want me to build a 2-bed. I think he said go for like a 3-bed, maybe like single tier type structure, kind of perfect it, make it look nice. Do you know what I mean? And then this will be like my first house of sorts. But then earlier I did say that I would be interested in sort of accumulating like more land. And then I think once I accumulate more land, I sort of get used to the whole process. Then I'll maybe build bigger structures and stuff like that.
I like it.
So I think one thing that I didn't make too clear at that moment was sort of what I meant in sort of building for myself. So what my dad did advise, right, was as opposed to obtaining the land and then from the outset saying, okay, I will build a house, or maybe I'll build an apartment, maybe, a few units, whatever, and purely doing it for like commercial purposes. What he advised was kind of building it to my spec, building it in a way that I would be proud to, or I would like to live in. And then once I get to the point of it being complete, if I don't know, if at that time I then decide, okay, I don't want to live here, then, I still have the ability to say, okay, well, I don't want to live here. I want to live somewhere else. Let me sell it, or let me rent it out. Let me, do X, Y, Z. Either way, like, I've won. So either I have somewhere to live, or I have something that will generate income further down the line. So sort of that's what I meant by what I said. So yeah. And I guess like another point to bring here is, of course, the land is 70 by 100. So when we say 70 by 100, it's like the part of the property that is connected to the road, that is like 70. So it's like 70 along the bottom, and then sort of like long ways going back, it's like 100 feet. However, if it was 100 by 70 instead of 70 by 100, so i.e. if the long edge was against the road, what I would have done, I would definitely have like split it into two. So I would maybe have like two units or two like full houses next to each other, both with their own parking, yeah, but I don't have 100 by 70. I have 70 by 100, but still I'm open to different ideas. I'm still in the process of finalizing exactly what it is that I want. So yeah.
I think that's quite brilliant. I could learn from that. I went big the first time. It was quite stressful, and I wish I would have done it smaller to begin with. But I'm happy I was able to.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I was able to attain that. But you don't have to, because if what happened wouldn't have happened, which is being lucky in the stock market, then it would have delayed my plans. And there are no kids in the picture or anything like that. Like 3 bedrooms would have been fine to start off. So
yeah,
I think that's actually like the right advice from your dad, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think that will be my probable plan.
Awesome. So once the war is done, then you are done with this land, or you'll be coming out to check on it regularly?
Well, I need to plant my trees, so I'll be back.
So that'll be the next thing?
And I want to physically plant at least one. Or will I have to plant all of them myself?
I think you can.
Okay, so I will be here with like a shovel, and I'll plant
make sure to document it, yeah?
Trees. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, Laurie, so do you plan on moving to Ghana? You say you want to see how it works out. Does that mean that you plan on
I think
moving?
I've always planned on moving out of the UK. So before now, so let's say the past few years, like I've done quite a few like solo trips, traveling to different places. And as drastic as it sounds, if I didn't move to Ghana, I'd probably go somewhere like Vietnam or something like that. So I think it's in me to just go somewhere other than the UK. But obviously I'll go to somewhere like Vietnam for a completely different reason, you know what I mean?
Right.
But Ghana, I feel like I can actually set a base here, and then maybe when I'm in Ghana, then I can like travel out from Ghana.
Right. Right.
I don't feel like I would be able to do that in Vietnam, for example, because I'm not Vietnamese. I don't really have like any ties to it.
As I said at the beginning of the video, in terms of my background, I'm from the UK. I was born in the UK, and I've always lived in the UK. I mean, I like to solo travel. I've been to various places by myself. Even before moving to Ghana, I actually considered like living in other places as well. But what I would say is, right now, this is the first time in my life where I've actually officially considered leaving the UK and moving elsewhere. But one thing I want to point out is that with how I am, I don't just want to pick myself up from one location and then just anchor myself in the next. So if we're talking about like the greater picture, like the wider picture for my life, I want to be like what I would consider like a global citizen, right? So I have my UK passport, I have my Ghanaian passport. I would also, in addition to Ghana, consider acquiring property in another country. And in an ideal world, I would have like something like a 30, 40 split between like 3 countries or even more. And so I guess like depending on what's going on in my life, depending on like what time of year, what season, I'll just sort of like adjust my location based on that. I think what's important is that I just have the freedom to go between various countries, and also that in addition to the UK, I have somewhere else that I can call home. So I think this kind of like part in my life is about me making Ghana also my home, And who knows, at some point further down the line, I may choose to make another place my home, So that's my MO. And another point to raise as well is You know, when you're in the UK, say if you want to take like a quick trip or something, like you'll vacay in somewhere in Europe, so like Spain or Germany or even like Turkey or something like that. For Americans, you guys, you'll go to Punta Cana, you guys will go to Tulum. Do you know what I mean? But if you live in Ghana, what is Europe to people in the UK or South America to people in the US? In Ghana, you know, I can just decide, okay, I want to go and visit Togo. I want to go to Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, Rwanda. Like, these are places that I'm really, really looking forward to exploring, like, now that, you know, I'm based in Ghana. So, yeah, I'm excited.
See,
I think it's quite brilliant. I had similar plans when I came here, but now, you know, I got into real estate, and now it's really demanding as far as like being on the ground more. But when I came here, my plans were, okay, I'm gonna have a set house, because once you travel here, you don't have to pay all the extra expenses that you have to pay if you're in the UK. That's like your insurance, all this stuff. You keep paying it even though you are not there, so you can actually have your freedom and travel the world. That was my idea when I came, but now I'm too busy to even do that. So let's see. Yeah. So I think it's a sound plan.
Yeah.
Very smart.
I'm excited.
Yeah. You know, Lori, I wish you the best on the plan. I will be following up with you. Make sure that, you know, you are building, because I'm here, building Akkadian Ltd right there.
Yep.
So I'll be checking on your land for you as always, and make sure that you are building that beautiful 3-bedroom house that you just mentioned.
I think next, though, I want to maybe start thinking of how I want to design it. So I have like one of those cute Pinterest boards.
Yeah.
And then like I'm just dropping in like photos of different properties that I like.
Vision board?
Like, yeah, I guess like a vision board or many vision boards. And then I'll somehow like one day just like Rush,
I'm ready.
this is my idea.
Okay.
And,
I like it.
so,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, so anything that I decide to do with my land, I will definitely bring you guys on the journey. I'll record content. I just want to kind of like walk you guys through the process. Yeah, for you guys who are wishing to do the same thing, I know for me, it helps me to see things. So if through me, you know, documenting my experiences, it helps people, it helps at least one person, one of you guys, then I'm good. I'm happy. You know what I mean? Me being on YouTube is actually useful. So yeah, that is my reaction to the video. Yeah, the way I've shown it today, I've sort of like, you know, chopped it up. I haven't necessarily played it in its entirety. So as I said earlier, definitely do go to Rush Asari's channel and you can watch the video in full. If you have like any queries, any questions for me, or if, for example, you specifically want to go for land in the area where I've obtained it, and you know you'd want me to connect you with Rush Asari specifically, again, just drop me a message and I can facilitate, you know, that kind of conversation, connection. And again, I want to hear from you guys. Please hop in the comments. I want to hear your opinions. Give me some ideas for content, you know. If you've heard something wild, you don't agree with something, I want to hear it as well. Like I said, keep it respectful. But yeah, like I really do like value sort of like interaction and engagement, that sort of thing. And I will do my best to respond to your comments or any queries that you have. So yeah, see you in the next one.